Good evening, everyone. I'm Veronica Kazanjian-Babian, Associate Director in Alumni Relations and graduate from the class of 1995 from Thomas Jefferson University. It's my pleasure to welcome you in watching Philadelphia College of Textiles and Sciences Men's Basketball 1970 National Championship game. So welcome, everyone. We were hoping to feature the recording last year on the 50th anniversary of this very special occasion, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the event was delayed. Since Jefferson was unable to offer a basketball season this year, we thought we would bring basketball to you, providing this silent 20-minute highlight reel of the game that took place back on March 13th, 1970, when Philadelphia Textile played against Tennessee State in Evansville, Indiana, with a victorious score of 76-65. This title has not been accomplished ever since by the university. And we'd like to personally thank Mr. Bruce Shively, who was able to uncover this recording. So thank you so much for doing that and bringing this wonderful recording to everyone's attention. We're thrilled to welcome our panel, who will discuss the plays, the strategies, and the excitement of the day. Please welcome Coach Herb Magee, who took the 1970 team to victory. Coach Magee is in his 54th season as the men's basketball head coach. He has amassed 1,123 career victories, which ranks first in NCAA's Division II men's basketball and second across all three divisions, and led his team to 31 NCAA tournament appearances. Also joining us this evening are the 1970 co-captains, Mr. John Pierantozzi, Hall of Fame inductee in 2005, and Mr. Carlton Poole, Hall of Fame inductee in 2020. The Game Watch will be moderated by Matt Leon, KYW Newsradio's news and sports anchor and reporter. Matt is also the voice behind the Jefferson Basketball games. At the end of the evening, if we have time, there will be a Q&A session available to you. Matt, Coach Magee, John, and Carlton, thank you so much for joining us this evening. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I am Matt Leon, and happy to be with you here today to look at a really cool moment, not just in Jefferson textile history, but in Philadelphia basketball history, when the Rams beat Tennessee State for the national championship. And once again, we've got head coach Herb Magee and two critical players, captains on that team, Carlton Poole and John Pierantozzi. And I'd like to start with you, Coach. Just kind of talk about this team and this season heading into this game. You guys made short work of everybody in the tournament to this point. How special was this group?
Yeah, thank you, Matt, for being here. Yeah, it's always a great pleasure to watch any game where my team wins. And I'm looking forward to that tonight. This was a special group, as evidenced by the fact that after losing two of our first three, we proceeded to win 28 straight games, going 29-2. So it's the best record in the history of the school and a team that I will always cherish. People ask me all the time, Coach, do you have a favorite team? And I tell them I don't have a favorite group of guys, but I do have a favorite team. And that's the 1970 team, because they epitomized what it means to be a basketball team. Played together, played hard, played smart, and refused to lose.
Next question for you, Carlton. Before we start the game watch, just talk about what you remember leading up to the game. You know, what are the memories you remember of the tournament, of that team, and just kind of the moments leading up to tip-off? How much was the excitement? It must have been palpable.
Well, we played so hard for the past week, and this week we came into Evansville, and our first game we won by around 40 points. The second game we won in double figures, and this game was the championship game, and we were ready for these guys, even though they were a lot bigger and taller than us. Once the ball went up in the air, it was game on.
So, Coach, how far in advance did you guys go out there? Was it like it is now, were you guys out there for a few days?
Now, we went out the day before and, just get ready to play. It wasn't like it is now. The teams that are in the tournament now in Indiana, the Division I, they've been there. They'll be there for like a week before they play, some of those teams. But no, we got there in plenty of time. And as Carlton just said, we won our first game by 48 points and the second game by 16. So here we go. Cheerleader time.
Coach, what do you remember about this Tennessee State team?
Tall, athletic, big and strong. Very impressed with them in their first two games, which we scouted. But I knew we could beat them because I felt that our team with those three senior starters in the front court, that we can handle anybody. But as you'll see when the game progresses, they did not take advantage of their size, and we really played into our skill level.
Carlton, what do you remember about this Tennessee State team?
The first thing I remember is the guys were like six. There was three guys on the team. I think three guys on the team were 6'8", one was 6'7", and they had this one guy, Ted McClain, who took all the shots, and he was he worked in our favor.
And Coach, when we talked on the phone yesterday, I mentioned this to you. The first thing that jumps out at me watching this, boy, the court looks cavernous with no 3-point line and no decals or anything. It looks like you guys have half a mile to work with out there.
It does look like a lot bigger. Now you would have at least 3 lines on the court to play high school, college, and pro basketball. So it does look like it's huge.
And John Pierantozzi's with us now. John, give us your memories of the time leading up in the early moments to this game.
He must still be muted.
And we'll work to get John. But early on here, Coach, what was the strategy? What you guys, obviously you want to set the tone and you want the game played on your terms.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll see that throughout the game. We were running a set here where we went handoff over and down. You'll see what John does here. He faked before. He gives the guy one fake and hits the jumper right on him. So that's what we wanted to do. We felt that we could go inside, even though they were bigger and stronger. But I felt our guys were more athletic, not as athletic, and maybe a little quicker.
Now, Carlton, were you nervous early on?
No, I wasn't nervous. I was determined to beat these guys. And we were just going to play our game.
Looks like they really wanted to force the issue, try to get you out in transition.
Yeah, well, that last play, the guy came down court against John and threw up a Hail Mary. And I couldn't understand why he didn't hold the ball, but that was to our advantage. And one thing that we did learn through the course of the year is that we had to block guys out for rebounds, and we did that all throughout the game.
You can see how they played kind of soft. They weren't really aggressive defensively. They were big, strong guys. I think they relied on that. But you can see how they played kind of soft. And look at this. That's us rebounding 2 or 3 times, getting second shots each time.
Coach, all 5 guys played 40 minutes, and anyone that has watched your team knows that's not a surprise. Just talk a little bit about letting guys play and letting them go out there and do their thing.
I learned as a young coach that I always felt that I would coach my team the way I wanted to be coached. And my coach, Bucky Harris, let me play. He never took me out of the game. And I felt that in order to give my players a chance to show what they could do, then they would play the entire time. I took guys out only when they got in foul trouble, and that's the only time.
Carlton, as a player, how satisfying is that to know that, you're going to be out there. You can do your thing. You can get into a rhythm. You don't have to keep looking over your shoulder.
Well, that's good. But the key was being in good shape, because there's no way you can stay out there for 40 minutes if you weren't in best shape. And our coach made sure of that when we practiced. And once we got out on the floor, it was just a matter of just producing.
Coach, what was the crowd like?
There were some people there. I couldn't tell you the exact number. Their stadium seat maybe 5,000, and there was a decent crowd there, even though normally they're used to Evansville being in this tournament, and they weren't. And when Evansville was in the tournament, they packed them in because we played them one year, me as assistant coach, and Evansville was in it. We played Evansville, and they had a capacity crowd.
Carlton, multiple times here, been watching, and you were fronting, getting your hands in, knocking balls away. Talk about what you were able to do defensively down low.
The guy named was Lloyd Neal. And what happened was the way I played him defensively towards the as the game went on, they stopped going to him. So that was good. That helped us out a lot because he was a lot bigger than me.
Lloyd Neal actually played on the Portland Trailblazers NBA championship team with Bill Walton. So this shows you how good he was. And you can see here.
And Coach, we've talked, obviously we've got Carlton here, and talk about the other guys on this team, the other three players we're watching here tonight.
Well, Jimmy McGilvery, right, getting the ball. He was about to get the ball in the middle. Was just a skinny 6'5" kid who really was deceiving. And he would get a double-double almost every single game. He could shoot the ball, he could run, he could rebound, and people thought they could move him around because he's so thin, but he would hang in there with anybody. Bruce Shively didn't start the first couple games, which we lost, and I stuck him in the lineup, and it changed around. When him in the starting lineup, we actually won every single game. And then Mike O'Rourke, just a tremendous basketball player. He's our point guard.
How important, Carlton, you guys were able to lead throughout this one. How important was it for you to not let them get going, not let them grab control, grab momentum?
Well, the importance was we didn't want them to win. And we knew with our defense, it would be tough for them to even get a lead on us. So it was really important that we kept our defense going, and all that really helped us keep the lead. And we just kept playing hard.
That's what that team did. Our team played 40 minutes of tough basketball the whole season. As you can see here, I guess the tape just paused, but you can see here 15-12, and then it's going to go from there. Did everybody's screen just pause? No, there it is. You can see the box out there by O'Rourke. Matt, are you still there? Can I be heard?
Sorry about that. My Zoom went out. So, Coach, talk a little bit about X and O wise. What are some things you were trying to do offensively, defensively throughout this game?
Well, we decided that we would just play them. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay. We decided we would play them the way we played everybody. And we kind of felt that if we could slow down the kid McLean, we could beat them. And as the stats will show, he took 34 shots. And I think he took actually too many shots. And I think it helped us. So the strategy was just to play our game. Our game was very simple, very basic basketball. As you see what he's doing here, he's shooting almost every time down the floor. Actually, the more I watch this game, the more I think we probably should have won by more. This is one of the plays that we ran a lot, where we try to hit the elbow with the ball. And then Jimmy would get the ball, and John would go down and screen for Carlton. And then Carlton would take a shot, as you can see, knock it down. That's called brilliant coaching. See what I'm saying about McLean? And he actually made that shot.
To make it easier, Coach, when when one guy's just trying to take over like that, defensively.
It is. Because their strength was inside, and as Carlton said, he did a great job on the kid Neal. But as you can see, we were going right by them. And as
that
you
was
can
a
see,
gorgeous play.
Yeah, terrific.
Was there TV timeouts, Coach? Do you remember, or was it just like a normal game?
It was. I'm not sure there were TV timeouts, but the game was on TV. It was the first nationally televised division. They didn't call it Division II back then. It was called. There was a university champion. Usually that was UCLA around that time, and there was a college division champion. That's what this is. This is the college division, and they're Shively getting a block on McLean.
Great ball movement here.
Yep. And there's McGilvery doing what McGilvery does.
And I believe we have John Pierantozzi with us now. John, what do you remember as we're watching this game? What are the memories that come flooding back?
I can't hear him. Do you?
No, I don't think we've got him yet. Here's great transition.
Yeah. This is when we kind of took control of the game. And this play we called handoff over and down. Mike is supposed to go over and he's supposed to go down. Here's a screen here. And then Carlton will use the screen by John to take a bad shot.
Yeah, Carl, that one jumped out at me when I was watching it. You got it, and you got the foul. What do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. And my attitude was, take this.
Now, here's where they went, and they tried a little bit of a zone. And Shively just made them regret that right there.
Best way to beat his own, shoot over it. I believe we've got John now. John, what do you remember as we're watching these plays go through? What jumps out at you?
And am I coming through?
And we're still having some technical difficulties getting John. Carlton, were you comfortable from basically what would have been almost 3-point range now?
Yes, but I probably just scored a lot more points, but they didn't count them as 2 points.
No possession error then, so jump balls all around, huh?
Yeah, the game is, as you can see, Matt, the game is so much different. No shot clock, no 3-point line, jump balls, no 5-second goals. As you'll see later on, we go into a hold against them and kind of win the game with that. Now, there's a time right there, that little stretch there, we actually took control. As you can see, we're up 13. We were just up 4. Now we're up 13.
Yeah, how big was it to grab control of this game? I mean, it's one thing to lead, but you get into the double digits as the first half's winding down. You're really kind of putting your stamp on it.
Yeah, the game actually gets a little closer because we threw the ball away a few times, but I don't think we were ever in danger because we knew we could always go to the delay game, which we did, and it worked. As you can see, we always had somebody open. You want to ask Carlton if that's a good shot?
I was going to let that one go.
I'll take that one back.
Carlton, could you feel frustration on their part as this game's going on and they're not able to do what they've been doing all season?
Yeah, because I had a sense of feeling that this team was kind of an intimidating type of team. They would come out because of their size and intimidate you, but they couldn't do that with us.
And that's a big mistake there. Left John open for an open jumper. So our guys really took advantage of what they gave us. And there was Bruce blocking the shot again.
That's great defense right there.
Yeah. Bruce was a tough guy, really a tough guy to score on. This kid was persistent, that's for sure. This is the one thing we did, Matt. You and I were talking about this the other day, that really I think we could have really widened the score. We were a very good foul shooting team, but not in this game. We actually missed, I think, 14 foul shots or 12 to 14 foul shots. So I have to check on who was the shooting coach that night.
So we're at halftime here as we pause for a moment. You're up 13, and we talked about taking control of the game. Coach, do you remember what you said at halftime or what the discussion focused on at halftime?
No, I thought we were doing what we had planned to do. I thought that we executed the game plan. I could see that they weren't really pressuring us. We were making passes to open guys. And it was just a question if we were going to make shots. 40 points at the half was about what we averaged. So I felt pretty good at this time having a 13-point lead.
Carl, what do you remember about the locker room at the break?
I believe our guys came in there and we were determined to get back out there in the second half and finish these guys off.
Coach, were you expecting them to change anything?
Yeah, I thought they might try to go inside a little bit more offensively. And I thought defensively they might pick up the defensive pace, which they did later on, which you'll see. And we kind of made a couple mistakes that allowed them some cheap buckets. But we were able to, as you'll see, widen the lead and win going away, really. I would say that this game, at this juncture and in the second half, I really wasn't upset or frightened at all. Frightened is the wrong word. Concerned at all. I thought we would beat them as soon as I saw the way they were going to play. That team we had that year, Matt, was really special. We averaged beating our opponents by like 23, 24 points a game. The two games we lost to Villanova at Villanova. We should have won the game. We lost in a very close game. Couple questionable things happens at the end of the game. We lost the double overtime game to Mount St. Mary's down there after we had beaten Drexel by like 30. And then guys got together and coming back on the bus from Mount St. Mary's, we're all talking and they said, Coach, don't worry about it. We're not losing anymore. And it's turned out to be the truth.
And you guys were on the road a ton that year, weren't you?
Yeah, we played 7 home games.
Was that just the way the schedule fell, or was
the way the schedule fell? It would just happen to be that way. And at that time, what are you going to say? That the schedule is what it is. So 7 home games is 7 home games. We went on the road. We went up to Scranton. They hadn't lost in their new gym in a couple of years, and we pounded them up there. A capacity crowd. We beat them badly up there. We opened up a gym at King's College in Wilkes-Barre, a brand new facility. They packed it in that night. We killed them too. So it was one of those games. I'm normally a pretty cocky guy, but after this season, I was really cocky because we handled just about everybody. When the game was over, people are asking me about, well, Coach, what do you look like for next year? Are you losing these 3 great players? And I thought to myself, we'll probably win the national championship every other year. And that was 53 years ago. We failed to do it since. So they made it easy. And it was a very special group of guys who played together and played hard every single minute that they were out there. And they had great leadership too. The 2 fellows that are on tonight, John Pierantozzi and Carlton, along with the other guys, all had great leadership quality. So it was great. I enjoyed every second of it.
And I'd like to try. I think we've been able to wire John Pierantozzi in. Are you with us, John?
Try it again.
Matt, I'm hoping I'm with you.
There you go. There you are, sir. Good to talk to you. So kind of give us, your thoughts on this game. We're at the half here. You're obviously a huge part of the success you guys are having at up 13. What do you remember from this game? What are your memories?
Well, the most important memory for me, Matt, is two things. One, just how well we played together as a team against a very tough opponent in Tennessee State. And then two, the way I think our defense really won the day for us. Because I think, as Coach mentioned, we didn't play particularly well offensively, but defensively, pretty much limited them to some really tough shots. Looking at that game the other day, I don't think they had more than maybe 5 or 6 what I would call easy baskets the whole night. So that's really my sort of big memory from that game.
And if we can roll into the second half here and start the video again. Jump balls to start the half, boy.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Carlton, in the second half here, are you watching the clock at all? Like you're 20 minutes from a national championship. Are you glancing up at all to see if time's going fast enough?
No, we had our work to do. We had too much work to do. And you can't be watching the clock when you got guys who are trying to beat you.
And this is one thing I think you notice as you watch this, you guys get to all the loose balls. Like if there's a ball, you guys are tracking it down, making things happen.
Yeah, one of the things you notice is that we don't turn the ball over that much.
So they came out and jumped into a zone, as you see here, Matt. And we were very good against zone because we had a couple of guys could make shots. And then they quickly went back to man, as you can see here. Now our work will cut off the post. And then he'll come screen for Carlton, who will roll and probably shoot. No, I'm just kidding. That's what McGilvery did better than anybody. You see it right there?
Yes.
He catches the ball in there and he always pump fake. What's this shot?
Nice work if you can get it, Carlton.
Touched every part of the rim.
John, I asked this of Carlton, as this game's going on and you guys are dictating, could you sense frustration in Tennessee State?
Thinking back, I think there may have been a point where some of the other guys besides number 24 were getting frustrated because they weren't getting any shots. And then I think that I think we caught them by surprise a bit in the sense that, we just kept scoring and taking advantage of some of their defensive lapses. So, yeah, I think there was a little bit of some frustration on their part. As you can see, there are a lot of jump balls in this game.
This is the part of the game where we turned it over a few times and it hurt us. But then you'll see how we stayed very composed. That's one thing about this team.
Coach, how many of the sets we're seeing here do you still use?
You'll see a couple. The backdoor cuts, getting the ball into the post. It all depends on what type of player you have. When we had Peter Alexis a few years ago, we ran the same type of play, getting the ball to him. This past year, the year that we played, we throw it into Devon quite a few times, running basically the same type of sets. But there, I'm talking about right there. See, they cut it to 6, and you'll see how we are very patient, and right away, bang, layup.
That great ball movement right there.
Yeah, terrific. The one thing about this team, Matt, was none of the guys on the team care who scored. They just wanted to win games. If somebody had If John had 25, next game he had 10, he didn't care. Same with Carlton, same with Jimmy, Matt, same with Bruce, same with Mike. And that's the kind of team.
I mentioned this to you before we got started. Looking at the box score, there's a gorgeous turnaround from John. The names are different, but a box score from this game looks a lot like a box score from the last season you played, as far as 5 guys playing 40 minutes, everybody contributing, and not just in one aspect, everybody doing something in all aspects of the game to help you win.
Right, exactly. And you can see that's why they all average double figures. Very opportunistic, as Jim McGilvery showed right there.
And all 5 guys scored in double figures in this game.
Yeah.
John, did you feel like this was a bigger team? Did they try to play the intimidation card out there? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They tried, but again, we had so much experience, and we had gone up against some really tough teams during the season. So, that really had no effect on us whatsoever. Plus, we had such great guards to handle the ball. They really had a hard time chasing our guys down.
So here we are with 8:16 to play. You guys continue to maintain. Coach, how do you handle time here without a shot clock? How much do you want to take per possession, or is until you get the look you want?
Well, we don't take as much time as we want as we can, because it's important to keep that lead. The one thing about it is you always have the opportunity, if you want to just keep the ball, period. And you can see this kid here. He started to make a few shots, so it would be smart for us. That's a bad play right there, where the ball just went. So that actually what he should have taken was a timeout, but O'Rourke makes a great play here.
Did they press a lot in this to try to get back into it?
They did it towards the end. They'll press again here, but we went right through it. And good play by Shiver. You see how many times that this team just made what I refer to all the time as just a basketball play. And here's the play you talked about.
Oh,
before.
Yeah, I have this marked on my notes, the most beautiful play of the game right there.
Yeah, okay. That we run, and as you well know, Matt, you've watched this play many times. All right, now this is something that we could do because there was no 5-second call, there was no shot clock, and O'Rourke and Shabby were terrific at that. Watch, he'll just put the guy on his hip, and he could actually bounce the ball there for as long as he wanted. So we're taking precious time off and making them get a little frustrated.
Carlton, what's going through your mind here as the clock's winded down the last few minutes? Do you feel like you guys have this? I mean, not that you're celebrating already, but are you feeling really good now?
Well, my attitude is like, we just got to keep playing hard, don't make mistakes, and we'll be fine.
I can't imagine how frustrating it must be to be the opponent here, where you guys are so deftly just killing time and running the clock.
Yeah, it was driving them crazy. Which, as a coach, is really when you can do that to somebody, it's ideal. We had beaten Ashland, one of the top teams in the country, for the regional championship, and held the ball on them the whole second half.
Yeah, that was one of the things that's so impressive. I mean, you won a game in this tournament scoring more than 100 points. You won a game scoring 45. I mean, basically, you could beat anyone however they wanted to play.
Right, exactly. So all a matter of confidence. Now, we made a couple mistakes here, as I told you, putting the ball in the wrong place. So they call a foul there. John made a good play there. This is where usually we were really good. And we struggled a little bit this game and allowed them to get back in it. But that's a good play right there.
John, do you remember the struggles at the foul line? A coach said it was unusual. And I've noticed stuff like that, no matter how good a foul shooting team you are, it can almost become contagious both ways.
Well, I think that it was also to a degree a function of the fact of playing 5 games in 8 days and against some really tough competition. So a little bit of tension and a little bit of fatigue, I think, got in there because we were a good foul shooting team.
So in the final minutes here, Coach, what's your message to the guys? You know, as far as closing it out, what are you telling them to do?
Just for Mike and Bruce to hang on to the ball. If they're going to get it, let them foul you. If they don't want to foul you, we'll just dribble the game away. And this becomes, really easy to do because, as you can see, they're not double teaming. And if they do double team, you notice how John is wide open in the middle. And then there's a time here where a work will just go right by the guy for a layup.
Now I'm watching this, and just as someone who's, watching present day basketball, given the situation and the fact that you guys struggled at the line, I'm surprised they're not fouling you, trying to extend the game.
That's the truth. Well, you got to take a shot. You have to at least double team. When I see teams that are just going to play us one guy on one guy like they are, then I believe in that. Watch, Mike will go right down the lane, get a layup. I watch him and I think, okay, we got this game. And see, it's only up 7, but still, it's our game. God, we even had John handle the ball.
That was dangerous.
Carlton,
Bruce,
what's going through your mind here as the clock's winding down? We're under 2 minutes now.
Well, I'm really happy about Mike and Bruce, how they're handling the ball. And these guys are running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
That's a great – I mean, that's got to be such a dagger to run a minute off the clock or so and then get an easy layup like that.
Yeah, and we have enough points. The game's going to end here. And, you can see it's going to be over. And you'll see the jubilation in a minute by the guys.
John, this final minute, what's it like for you?
Well, it's just something that, it's hard to describe because there's just so few basketball players who ever get this opportunity and then be able to win that game and then join the ranks of champion. It's just amazing. It stays with you forever. I mean, 50 years later, we're watching this game again.
It's still exciting.
And Coach, you told me one of our many conversations, your favorite point is when you're going to win the game and that clock's running down 10, 9, 8, and you're going to win. Talk about that feeling when it's a national championship.
Well, it's something that, it's hard to imagine.
Your dad, come out.
You are got the game, you have the game, and you don't care if it lasts a little bit while longer because you're going to win the game. So it's really probably the most exciting time. There's still time on the clock.
Father runs out on the court.
You're going to win the game. You're going to win the basketball game. And now you see our fans, not them, but you see our fans. That's Carlton's father, I believe.
Yep.
Steve Mayako.
What's that moment like, Carlton, cutting the net down?
It's unbelievable. To be the national champion, that means you're the only team, you're the one team in the country who's considered the best. Even though throughout the year we wondered why we weren't ranked so high. But I'll take that anytime.
John, what do you remember about this moment here?
Well, I think the one thought that goes through your mind is that of all the guys who are playing college basketball, there's so few that are champions, and it's just something that stays with you forever.
Did
you guys stay overnight in Evansville?
Yes, we did.
What do you remember about the ride back?
We flew back.
Okay.
To a big crowd at the airport. I know it was a big crowd at the airport to welcome us. And of course, I carried the trophy out and held it up. And, it was covered by the news because it was a big thing. There aren't too many national champions in any city. And there was a chance for Philadelphia to celebrate. We actually had, we went to the mayor's. Mayor James Tate had us down to his office in a motorcade down the expressway in the upcoming weeks. It was just tremendous. They named all the buildings at the school after the players. They named it Magee College of Textiles and Science. They should have kept that, I thought, Matt, to be honest with you. They decided to change it. But it was just an exciting time. It really was. It's just so much fun reliving it. And I'm glad that a lot of people were on this tonight watching, get a chance for them to relive it along with us.
Carlton, what do you remember about the plane ride back, arriving back, the celebration, stuff like that?
It was unbelievable. I had to pinch myself a couple times to think that we're coming back to Philly as national champions. So it was a special moment that you never forget.
That's well put.
How about you, John? What do you remember about the plane ride and coming back to the city and everything?
I remember being tired as all hell, but as excited as a person could be, knowing that we had won the national championship, knowing that so many teams, shoot for that, that title, and we were the one team that was able to do it.
Yeah, you got to remember that it was the university division, the college division, which now would include all Division II and Division III schools. So it would be almost twice as many teams that had a chance to compete for it. And here we are walking off the plane with the national championship trophy. And the watches they gave us, which we still have. I'm sure all the guys still have their watches. I know mine. I wear it all the time. The first couple of days of practice and show it to my team every year.
Coach, how did life change for the program after this?
It's basically the same. Still no budget, still no recruiting budget, none of that. We had to, we were better known in the city when we went out to recruit probably, but it didn't change much. It is what it is. I thought things might change. We might get more scholarships, a bigger budget, but it never happened. And that's fine. That's just the philosophy that the college had at the time. So it was something that can never be taken away. And it's something that will live with us forever. That's for sure.
Carlton, where does this rank in the memories of your playing career? Right at the top?
Yep, at the very top. You can't get any better than being a national champion.
Same question to you, John.
Yeah, same thing, Matt. It's that it's the pinnacle of what all college basketball players are hoping to achieve.
Well, this was an awful lot of fun, and I turn it over to Veronica, see if there's any questions from our viewers that she wanted to pass along.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Matt, Carlton, Coach Magee, and John. We got there in the end. We've got a couple of questions that rolled in, and we've got time just for these couple of questions. So were there any players that went to the NBA?
No, we've never had anybody play in the NBA. We've had guys drafted. Carlton was drafted by then the ABA New Jersey Nets. A couple other guys have been drafted, but no one has ever played in the NBA.
But you also pointed out one of the guys you beat went to the NBA.
Well, 3 of those guys played in the ABA, which was a big deal back then. And one was on the championship team from Portland, the Portland Trailblazers, along with Bill Walton. That was Lloyd Neal. So that was quite a team we beat, and something we're very proud of.
How many shots might have been 3?
Excuse me?
How many shots may have been 3?
How many of the shots you think would have been threes in
That's
today's
a great
game?
question. That's a great question. I can't recollect taking that many real deep threes. We had the power of our team was Carlton, Jimmy, and John inside, with Mike and Bruce doing what they did. If anybody was going to take a 3, it would probably be Bruce. But that's a good question. Now, if it was available, we probably would have had it in our offense. But it wasn't available at the time. So you have to go with what you're best at. And inside was where we played and beat most teams.
Good to hear. We've got a couple of comments here from Stan Orlick. I was there with 4 friends. We were the only students who went from the first game. And Bob Lockyer just wanted to thank everyone involved. He graduated in '68 and he never dreamed that he'd get to see this game. So he's thanking us.
That's great.
Final question. Oh gosh, we've got a couple of more questions and we're going to have to wrap it up after these two questions. The game may have changed the rules, etc., over the years, but from a coaching perspective, have the kids changed much in their approach to the game on their coachability?
Yes, I think they have. Still, we've got great kids in the program, but it's rare to find a group like that group right there that would have the one singular thought, and all they thought about was winning games. Now, a lot of times, kids are worried about how many points they get, if they make all league, all American, if they get 1,000 points, and so on. But these guys, they never entered into their mind. So no, they have changed, and I would like to see it go back to the way these guys are. So that's a great question, whoever asked that, but that's the way I feel about it.
Okay, the final question. Carlton, what happened with your hair? Someone's asking.
50 years.
Exactly. Any final thoughts before we end the program? Any final things you might want to add? This has been really a special evening, so we'd like to just allow you to share any final thoughts and comments.
I'd like to hear from John. You have something?
Yeah, I really appreciate Jefferson University making this happen, and I'm sure that there are quite a few alums. I just got a message from Tad Schwab, an alum down in Florida, and he had never seen the game before, and I know he really enjoyed it. So thank you very much for making this happen.
Our pleasure.
Carlton?
Yes, it's been like 51 years, and my question is, who was the guy in the Rams mascot uniform?
That's a great question. I'd like to know that myself. But I would simply add, I think it's a great idea to have this on. It's a tremendous thing for not only ourselves, because we were participants in the national championship game, but I think it's great for guys that have played there, young women that have played there, and they can see what it means to be a national champion. I think it's great for the university. And we going through all of our names: Textile, Philadelphia University, and now Thomas Jefferson. So it's great, and it's great to be recognized. I can say that right now. So thank you again to Veronica for all your help and your ideas. I'd like to thank Matt for doing a tremendous job, as he usually does, with his MC.
Glad to be a part of it. This was a ton of fun. Thank you.
Great fun.
Thank you, everyone. We really appreciated everyone's time and efforts into this very special program. We finally got there, even though we're about a year delayed in providing this. We finally got there in the end to show it to our Jefferson community. And also, you'll have an opportunity people will have an opportunity to complete a survey afterwards. And a recording of this event will be on our Jefferson Alumni YouTube channel within 24 hours.
Oh, great.
I'd like to just share with you a couple of announcements of some upcoming events. So we've got a few events coming up in the next few days. Setting the Scene, Tips from Hollywood, which explains ways to decorate your home. And that's this Thursday, March 18th. Choosing the Perfect Wine on Thursday, March 25th. Inside the Music, a conversation with one of our alumni, Ryan Press, on Jefferson's Giving Day on April 8th. And Get Buzzed, The Science of Coffee on Tuesday, April 13th. You can sign up for any of these events and more at jefferson.edu/alumni events. And you can also follow us on our social channels to find out more about our upcoming events and alumni information. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, in addition to our Jefferson webpage. And we'd also like to invite any of our alumni to remain connected with us and your fellow alumni by signing up for the brand new Jefferson Alumni Network. Register today at alumninetwork.jefferson.edu. Update your profile and use the directory to search for Jefferson, Textile, and PhilAU alumni by name, class year, region, specialty, industry, and more. Lastly, we hope that you'll be able to save the date for our Jefferson Giving Day and plan to participate on Thursday, April 8th. The day will be filled with exciting virtual programs and stories, including like the one I mentioned about Ryan Press. Once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Matt, for moderating and leading this event. Coach Magee, Carlton, and John, thank you so much for attending, and we really appreciate your time. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great night and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.